think everyone shared the same scary story, but 6 to 9 months ago when Log4j hit. So today we're going to talk a little bit about protocol inspection. Protocol inspection for F5 means a couple different things. It means protocol compliance, but it also means signature-based inspection. So signature-based inspection allows us to basically turn the F5 AFM into a full-blown IPS and as well as an IDS. So protocol compliance just allows you to check for things like making sure you're running HTTP 1.1 or 1.2 or whatever your protocol you want to run through is. The signature-based stuff is where it gets a little bit fun, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So it uses a subset of snort syntax type rules. What's really cool about this is you can take other people's rules and you can import them, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But it allows you to do deep packet inspection. It's a lot more efficient than the traditional iRule. Now, I don't want to take away from what F5 says to do when these events hit. You can always do iRules. There's typically ASM signatures. There's different ways to protect yourself. Not many people look at this as an option, but it's actually a lot more efficient, and it actually keeps track of the entire session. It doesn't look at just the session initialization, which is what typically AFM does, as well as a lot of other products. So it's nice that it looks bidirectionally and kind of keeps everything in the flow the entire time of the flow. So with that said, everyone's going to ask, well, how much is this going to cost me? Well, the good news is if you own AFM, you already got it. It's included in AFM base, as you can see from the screen up here. If you did buy AFM already, if you bought AFM via Better or Best, so you already had Better, maybe you already had something already in place, or you added on AFM, you do have to buy the IPS signature. There's an add-on SKU. And then there's also a subscription. So F5 offers its own subscription, which is fantastic and will automatically update for you. If you don't want to use that F5 subscription, you can by all means import other people's, and we'll talk about that right now. So I titled this Sharing is Caring because it truly is. So when Log4j hit, obviously a lot of people were impacted. So a lot of vendors in the security community all got together and said, let's get this done as quickly as possible and solve for this as quickly as possible, which was fantastic. The guy that you see here, James Affeld, has been phenomenal throughout this entire ordeal. He wrote a couple articles that you can see up here. The first one talks about how to convert a snort rule. So if you've got snort signatures or you're a subscriber of snort's pay service, you can pull in their signatures pretty easily, and it walks you through step by step of how to do that. The second one actually talks about this specific attack for Log4j CVE 2021 44228. This specifically literally talks you through how to import every single bit of RSA signature. So RSA is one of the good guys out there. I love this story because it was like everyone literally got together and told the evil villain to go away, and the good guys are standing there saying, we'll be ready for you next time. So RSA was kind enough to share their intelligence with us and allow us to build a signature that got all this together. So with that said, for me, I like to actually demo this out. I'm a big automation fan, especially when it comes to like SecOps and stuff like that. So I built a little collection that I put out there on my Git repo. These are a couple just sample attacks, really, really easy. And then we're just going to walk through the logs and show you what that looks like. So here, it's just a really simple F5, right? I've got Kali Linux running. I've got a couple different, just very easy attacks. You can see I'm banging on the server right now. Let me walk you through what the F5 looks like pre, and then we'll walk through what the F5 looks like post. So again, I'm just running Juice Shop, right? Super simple, vulnerable server that everyone knows about. If you don't know about Juice Shop, go out, check it out. Makes life and demos a lot easier for everyone. So it's really simple, server, virtual server. I'm just going to a pool in the back end. You can see right now I've got no policies, nothing's really enabled, nothing fun here from a security perspective. Then I go to protocol security, which is where you're going to do all the configuration at. You can see the inspection profiles. There are no profile, well, there are the default profiles, but nothing custom. And then the inspection logs are obviously going to be empty. And last but not least, the inspection list, which is what defines all the attacks. So you'll see by default, there are a bunch of attacks that automatically come with the device. Again, you can subscribe and pull these down automatically. So again, being a SecOps kind of guy that I am, I'm going to run this real quick. Yeah, perfect. All right, so we'll run the collection real quick. So again, this is just a bunch of different, so all of these are individual let me get into this real quick. I'll show you what these look like. So from a body perspective, you can see it's typical JSON, right? Key value pair. So it makes it really easy to find all these. I have, I think, 12 or 14 different attack signatures. And then I create a profile and tie everything into that, all the signatures that we just created in. And then last but not least, I apply it to a virtual server. So with that said, I'm not going to click through 100 or however many different times for you guys. I'm just going to run a quick collection here. We'll see everything comes back, getting 200 OKs. Everything's good to go. Just a matter of seconds, we had this ready to go. And we use this at a large service provider, just so you know, it's not just kind of vaporware, we actually did this and it worked just fine to a large service provider. There was no impact to the system, which is great. Comparative, again, we're my DevCentral search, so I'm not going to bash iRules. Love iRules, use them intensively, but at the same time, they can be CPU intensive. There was literally no impact using this methodology. You can see I've created all my signatures. I've got a custom ID for each one. And what's nice about this is by default, I've set the action to accept. So you can actually just look and see what's going on. You don't have to go into like a blocking or a drop mode out of the gate. You can go accept and you can look and see what's going on. I then build a profile. Within that profile, you'll see I've changed that value, which is kind of cool. And now within my HTTP blocks, I'm actually going to drop these signatures. And you get, you'll see over here, you've got the flyout. So if you want to make some modifications to what's going on, you can select a signature and make modifications, change anything you want to as you're going through it. What's really cool about this is from a visualization perspective, the logging on this is pretty awesome. You'll see it'll start building these little graphs down here and it'll start building some nice detail to it. It looks really cool, gives a nice executive view for when you're trying to prove out what you're actually blocking and what you've purchased. And last but not least, from a virtual server perspective, you come into the virtual server and it's really simple to remove and or add. So you run into issues, maybe you want to turn it off, just come back in here under the protocol inspection profile section. You drop this down from enabled to disabled and it'll go away. So now that we've got it all applied, you'll see I'll run the same attack. So you can see I was getting a response before. Now I'm not getting a response. I'll run another attack just to show you what it looks like. You can see now I'm actually in blocking mode, so this will eventually time out. And if I come back over here to security and go to my protocol security and look at my inspection logs, now you can see I've got the inspection log and I've got everything captured. What's really kind of cool about this, I'm going to scroll over, is you've got the option to actually capture the entire payload and you can send it out to an external source. So maybe you've got a product you've got a threat hunting team or something like that and you want them to actually look at the full payload to maybe be able to replay it or do something with it. You can capture the full payload and that's really simple to configure. If you go to logging profiles, I just select the default global network one and this is protocol inspection. You can see log the packet payload, so I can grab the entire packet payload. Obviously, I've changed my publisher to something external or off box. I can kick that out off box, and my threat hunting team's got something to play with and do their own little fun thing with. And that's really it. So you can see it's in a matter of seconds, I went from being completely vulnerable to Log4j and being attacked by Log4j to completely blocking Log4j. And you can see right there, I'm getting a connection reset, so I completely drop it. I can reset it as well if I want to get an immediate response or give them an immediate response back. Most of the time you don't want to do that, but that's entirely up to you.